Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is I, DrBossKey, and today, on this day before the 4th of July here in the States, where I get to spend more time crunching on our Shmup Interstellar Sentinel, we are going to review a refresh to Loki. We're working through the character dialogues for just many little cutscenes and instructionals, because the game world is a universe that has characters and their relationships. And yeah, so why don't we jump on over and take a look at that. So first off, we're looking at Loki here. So it's kind of a trip. The last time we finished this project with Loki, it was 2019, November. We started with, I think, DBK, went through a bunch of other things. We kind of did them on, let me pause this real quick. I had to clear my throat. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, so it's a bit of a trip to come back full circle after working on this project for such a long time and to do an art refresh. So first off, Dimitri, definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much. So new version on the right, previous version on the left. So I think at first blush, Dimitri, I think that, one of the things that's important to know is, with cats, their coat is basically their clothing, right? So here, we had a lot more of these white splotches and these under fur tones. So these under fur tones here, right? And this belly fur, which is right here. So what's happened is you've unified all these colors into, basically into one palette. So she's losing some of her coat character with that. I really enjoy that you updated the rune coloring. I think we definitely have better glows. So that's one thing there. So if we could bring that back, same thing you can see in the fur line, right? So kind of here as well with the shoulders. So these are the things that kind of really bring her character together. So the other side of this too, right, is previously her fur tufts, her little ear fur tufts were black, and here because we've shifted to white. Part of it is this gives me a little bit of charm. Also, they need to be bigger and tuffy, right? Like we worked a long time trying to get like the length, and here we're losing again a bit of that, like, she gets a lot of her charm from these little details here. So want to point that out there. And then the same thing, right, with the head. These markings, basically, I need you to paint them back in the face, right? So because we've taken her face and made her all white, that's just not her. And she says, "Here, baby." Oh, she says if she's going to be a Loki cat, she has to have her markings. Yes. Who's a Loki kitty? Always hanging out. Okay. So I think that's the piece there as well. I think the other side here, right, this is more about emotion. Now, granted that this is anthropomorphized, so, don't get me wrong here. You've narrowed the eyes and you made the eyes less big. And so what's happening, right, is that this is making her look mean. Same thing with I think the face here, right? So we've opened up the lips just a little bit, and same thing with the whiskers, with the whiskers coming back, right? The whiskers, this is all giving her kind of a bitchy, mean looking face, right? Like, and we worked really hard trying to really frame, we want the droopy whispers, right? And because that's part of her character as well. And then the eyes themselves, like like I said, because you've narrowed the eyes, it makes her look like she's looking like a predator. So we need to bring and she is, don't get me wrong, but for this particular face, I'm looking to open up her eyes just a little bit more too. I mean, compared to, I don't know if you remember how much pain we went through trying to get fur. I mean, your fur is way better. So don't get me wrong. I really enjoy the brush stroking with the fur. We're kind of missing a little bit of the under tufts like we talked about here, right? So, and then I understand because we're doing it for the dialogues. You've pulled you pulled her wings in, right? So, and I think what we need to do is we need to pull the wings out just a little bit. Like we could keep them a little closer because she is, in her original pose here that we're using. She takes up a lot of space, right? But it's also pretty cool because the wings are a big part of what make her species, give her the character. So, and more in particular, being able to see these little like horn nodules on the wings are really important. So if we can bring those back out just a little bit to have the wings, I would definitely appreciate that. Other than that, I mean, your paws are better, which is great. We can apply some of the same thinking to, the rest of the body, of course, with some of the fur tufts. And probably the last thing here is that, So we also, it took us a long time to get these symbols. These like they're almost like so they're like these runic organic markings, right? And they and here we made them so where they're wavy. So very rarely do we actually have a symbol that is absolutely perfect in its symmetry. And here you can tell we lost a chunk of that with the iconography. And I know we've worked together such a long time. I can hear you in that space. So we need to be less precise with our images. We need to be more painterly in this case, because these are symbols on the flesh themselves, so they're never going to be perfect, right, on the wing flesh itself. So and again, that brings together some of that character. Okay, let's see here. The brighter green eyes I can appreciate, but I think here you're with the I think we had the bigger irises here, right? Or the bigger outer iris itself, right? We're also missing, she's got more of these slits in the eye as well, right? And those slits, again, kind of also give her that more angry looking face, right? So, I mean, she's talking to DBK. She's a DBK sidekick for life. And then I think we're missing just a little bit of the detailing in the iris itself. So we went a little bit a little too small. We'll open the eyes up a little bit. I think the inner eyes, we can go with the brighter green if you're really feeling it, as long as we can bring that level of texture back. So let me see here. Other than that, nice little. I like what you did with the pose on the arms. A little bit of rim light there, which is nice too. I already talked about the runes. I think that is, for the most part, it. So yeah, just some small things there. I can't quite tell. It might be that the face itself is tilted down just a tiny bit on that chin. It also just could be that you went with a slightly more narrow chin, which is probably it's not terrible. But again, we need to make sure that we're working on her. I think her emotion there. So other than that, I'm excited. These are super cool. And to everyone else that's been out there watching and following along, thank you very much. Thank you for the subscriptions. We are on track. We're going to launch our game August 7th. That is hell or high water. So we're cleaning up these details and working through it. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, feedback, leave them in the comments. Talk to you everyone soon. Thank you, everybody.